welcome.
Thank you.
You. I went for the soft, cuddly approach.
Yeah, well, my favorite is this is, where I'd rather be.
Yep, I hear you.
Oh
I hear
boy,
you.
crazy
So
times.
it is strange, different, and interesting. And I'm reminded of the 17-year-old me who thought old people over 30 took too long to get things done and life was pretty boring for them. Careful what you wish for.
Oh my goodness.
It's a long time ago since I was 17, but I remember very clearly thinking, they take forever to do anything. It takes them forever to make a decision on a $50 item. Now, that's back when $10 an hour was a big amount of money, but it still seemed to me that people took too long to do things. So I
I
take it all
know.
back now.
What I'm finding really annoying is that you don't want to forget something at the store because then you got to go back and wait in line,
Yeah.
you
Yes. Or
know?
you make a thorough list and then 3 days later you go, I only have enough tea bags for one more day.
Right?
Not a life altering issue, but it's one of my favorite calming beverages. A
Yeah.
giant mug in the morning
Yeah.
and a medium-sized one after supper before bedtime at some point.
Yeah.
So, not earth-shattering. It's as one of my friends has reminded a few of us, it's a first class problem compared to
Yeah.
those that don't have enough to eat. So
I guess.
you are sharing in the 30 plus one books one of your remarkable stories. And
Mm.
I know I talk about resiliency. To me, resiliency is about, do you have the problem? Or if you're really resilient, you keep it that way. Or if you're not feeling resilient, the problem owns you. So resiliency in broad terms for me is about owning the problems, even if we didn't create them. So what's your thoughts about resiliency and your journey to date?
Well, that's really great way of describing it because I completely 100% believe that. And it's kind of like where we're at today. We can't control where we're at, but you're not going to let it control your outcome and how you're going to behave and what you're going to do with it. So, for example, like 2 years ago, I broke my ankle and, I was stuck at home, sitting, not being able to go anywhere. It was my right foot. So I was literally where I am today with this coronavirus. So what I learned 2 years ago is that I started eating unhealthy. I was drinking my wine that I love, and I stopped doing my morning rituals. And then coming out of this broken ankle quarantine time, 3-4 months later, I put on so much weight that I was almost in the best shape of my life, get just before I broke my ankle. So coming out of it really, really put me in a down spiral place because now it took me almost, a good close to 2 years because I couldn't go to the gym for almost a year. And so now sitting here at this moment, I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. So I'm really not letting that happen. I'm staying resilient, meaning that I'm sure I'm not getting up at 5:45 in the morning like I'm used to, but I'm not going to the gym, but I'm still keeping that routine of the important things to keep me healthy emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, right?
Smart, smart. So yes,
Hmm.
and for me, this is today is the 8th week. I broke my toe 8 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, I got to start to exercise again. But in the 6 weeks of, oh no, gentle movements, no exercise, no stairs, it was like, oh, I gained 3 kilos, which is only 8 pounds, give or take, but that's 8 too many.
It sure is, especially at our age. It takes a lot longer to take it off.
Yeah, I can put it on in a week, and it takes 3 weeks of hard work to get rid of it.
So, in saying that, like, I basically before Corona started, I am in the, like, I'm gonna say the, like, pretty good shape, pretty best shape of my life, being 52 years old. And I'm proud of it. And you know I'm really, really trying hard to maintain it. I don't obviously have the physical activity levels that I am accustomed to having as going to the gym, but I'm doing my daily walks, eating healthy, staying off my wine, and enjoying it when we do these virtual girl nights once in a while on a Friday night. But you got
Great.
to make adjustments, and you do really need to be resilient in that, when it comes to taking care of yourself. I call it self-care, right? If you're not
Yes.
taking care of yourself, you're really not going to accomplish, I'm not going to accomplish what I want to accomplish if my self-care isn't at my top notch, right?
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree. So
Hmm.
for me, resiliency, as people have heard me say before, it's a process, it's a skill set, and it's a beliefs and values system. And the beliefs and values and the process are as or more important than the skills. Because if you don't know what you're going through, it's hard to make an adjustment. So
Yeah.
I always go back to my first chronic illness diagnosis where the doctor, with good intention, sort of, he did everything but pat me on the head. Well, there's nothing you can do. I'm the doctor, and here's the course of treatment, and it's all out of your hands. Well, that is a real helpless, hopeless mindset that it instills in you. And it took me 9, 10 months to shake it off. And then
Yeah.
it was like, in my family, you're not allowed to live in the land of nothing you can do. You can visit there for short periods of time, a couple hours, a few days, even a couple of weeks if it's a big deal, but you don't stay there. So
Yeah.
I hear you saying that you're not going to even visit it during this time.
I'm not. And it's funny because, like you see, I do a lot of sometimes get on Facebook and do some lives and stuff. And I'm watching my social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all that people are talking about is food and drinking. And I keep saying to them, you better be careful because, I mean, we're going into what, month two?
Yeah,
It's, let me tell you, I mean, I'm watching my family members. My daughter is started. She's gotten off all social media. She's gonna train herself to learn new things. Is
good for
starting a
her.
new diet. She wants to lose weight, so this is a great time to do it.
Yes, it is.
Not to go the opposite, right? Because you're gonna regret it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had self-isolation for 2 weeks because of the broken toe before the virus hit.
Right.
So it's like, oh my, 8 weeks of almost no activity. So the last 2 weeks, after 6 weeks, I was allowed some. So now I'm allowed vigorous activity according to the doc.
Right.
So I'm out late at night when there's almost nobody around. 5 nights ago on my walk, one person in 40 minutes of walking.
Yeah.
And last night there was 7, but we were all
Wow.
crossing the street to avoid each other with lots of waving. It's not
Yeah.
personal, but I'm moving 20 meters away from you just in case.
Yeah.
And it is an effort, and it's a goal set, and it's a focus.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. I know a neuroscientist that we've been talking about this, and he said, and we have to remember though, for some people, just staying safe during this time is a big effort because they have other health issues, which makes it tough to be extra resilient during this
Right.
social isolation. So
Right.
I have somebody that I hang out with online a couple minutes a week, and she's self-disclosed that she has fetal alcohol syndrome. So she said, my wiring isn't normal. So I'm happy, A, to still be alive, B, not be self-destructive, and C, being in a state of mind and body where I can actually help my parents who are not real
Right.
elderly, but they have a series of complex health issues each. So
Right.
she said, social isolation is tough because I miss my friends. And when I'm lonely, I eat. And when I'm
Yeah.
lonely, I watch too much TV that makes me stressed and I even eat more. So she said, whoa, it's taken me years to lose the 120 pounds since I got straight and narrow and healthy. I'm not going to gain it back. So
Right.
she's one of the ones that I really appreciate her honesty because she discloses that, hey, I don't have normal wiring.
Yeah.
My mom was an addict when I was born. She's healed. I forgive her. Life is good. But she said it's still, whoa. So,
Right.
yeah. So, for those of us that are blessed to have a relatively normal sense of life, it is a time to be more resilient. It is a time to practice physical, mental, emotional health and pay attention.
For sure.
And also, I think it's a time for gratitude. If we're living in a first world culture and we're blessed to be in North America, Even somebody got mad at me and said, well, it's easy for you to say. I said, yeah, but if I had to, I can walk 6 miles and there's a food bank.
That's
If I
right.
had to, with a cart. Let's talk to those acquaintances I have in other countries where there is no food bank.
Right.
And if they don't work, they don't eat. And there's no government program.
Right.
So they're into week 5 now and they're getting kind of skinny and they're eating 1 meal a day. That's a hardship.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm losing some connections over this, and that's okay with me.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, it's okay to be hardship. I get it. It's tough. Your income stopped, but are you got a roof over your head? Are you safe today? That's today. Tomorrow
that's
we
right.
can fight again.
That's right.
So as we have this book come together, the reason we call it 30+1 was hang in there for 30 stories, be inspired. And I know that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or maybe all 30 are going to be like, oh my gosh, they lived through it and look what they did when they came out of it. And then the +1 is the symbolic, and hang in there for 1 more day.
Right.
1 more day. And that's what we need to do for each other, is hang out there, hang in there for 1 more day for each of us.
Absolutely.
I live in a tower, and neighbors called up and said, Michael, who in the tower has mobility issues? Who in the tower is a senior? And so we shared a few things without breaking confidence. And he said, well, you know, I still get to work, and I work in a company that has a lot of food. So my wife and I have decided we're going to share. So with all the seniors and all the people with mobility issues in our 20-story tower, they dropped off a significant care package. We're both blessed to both be working, keeping our income. We both work off hours when the place is closed, because he does warehouse into the store and she does stocking when the place is closed. They're masked, they're gowned, they're gloved, they're face masked, they're goggled, you name it. He said, other than a scuba suit, we're pretty much encapsulated. And he said, so why not share? He said, I feel very, very grateful that I get this opportunity. So that was, that felt good that I had a neighbor that was looking out. Of course, I teased him and said, it's too bad you don't work for the LCBO, because I'd want to be on your list. He brought me a bottle of wine.
There you go.
Which I said, I don't deserve it. He said, no, you gave me the list. You take care of the neighbors other ways. It's our turn. So I didn't realize joking could bring wine. So, you know, I'm trying to be funny today. That's not a hint. That's just stupidity. But
yeah.
So this is great. So for people that haven't heard you speak before, what's your theme?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have a lot of themes. I guess my biggest theme is about forgiveness. And, you know, no matter what we go through in life, and no matter where we want to head it in, you know, what direction we want to go to, I think there's a lot of forgiving that we all need to do, or maybe not a lot, but some people might. Let's put it this way. I think we all have to forgive either ourselves or someone else, or, you know, who we're blaming, because we're a society where we like to point fingers, right? We're a society where we like to blame others. We like to blame the economy. We like to blame the weather. We like to blame everything. The guy that cut me off, you know, walking, you know, across the street or driving. And so what happens is we get to those stages and we hang on, and we fester with those emotions. And what happens is that's how we create so many illnesses within us. So what happened with me was that, you know, I grew up and I had growing up a lot of allergies. Oh my goodness. Bad allergies, bad asthma. I was constantly in the hospital. And when I was 29 years old, which was, you know, about 25 years ago, 25, something like that, I went through forgiveness. And after going through forgiveness, a lot of things happened. And one of the things that happened was my allergies and asthma completely went away. And to this day, 25 years later, I have not had a sign of allergies or asthma. And I lost a whole amount of weight. And so people throughout the years that asked me, well, how did you get rid of them? I'm like, I really don't know. I feel like it had to do with forgiveness. And back then, you know, when I was 29, we didn't really have too many links on that forgiveness and health were really connected. As the years progress, now we know that when we hang on to stuff, we do create that illness, whether it's an emotional illness, a mental illness, but we also create physical illnesses. And I certainly believe that by letting go, we let go of a lot of stuff. So I talk a lot about forgiveness, and that's pretty much my go-to at all times, really.
I'd say that you have hit on a very powerful mindset and belief system. Not always easy to do, but
It's not.
very, very important. A long time ago, I had a failed medical procedure, so I had to go back to emerge and have it all over again. And some people were like, you should sue the doctors and you should this and you should that. I said, it's definitely an option. And I think it's very important to know our options, but no, they didn't do it on purpose. They
Mhm.
weren't careless. Their training, they left North America to take advanced training. These are the
Yeah.
top of the top. I mean,
Mhm.
in the 70s as a medical professional, you're graduating and you go, oh, over there in Scandinavia, they're doing even more advanced. I'll go back to school just for 6 more months. You've been in school for 9 years. You go back for 6 more months. No, I wouldn't do that to these people.
Right.
So I teased them that I was back for the warranty.
Right.
You could tell by the look on their face that they felt horrendous, but I'd suggest that my body was tired and that's why the surgery failed, not that they made a mistake. And so it really amazed them that I recovered as fast as I did from this setback.
Mhm.
And it was like, well, you didn't do it on purpose. I teased you that I was back for the warranty, but isn't it great that in Canada, I can come back and I don't have to worry about whether my insurance company will take care of it. Do I have to mortgage the house? Do I have to sell the house? How to pay for it? So you talk forgiveness and gratitude. I talk gratitude and reframing. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we are very aligned with different words, but it's a powerful, powerful mindset. And the Harvard Medical School people would agree with you. They talk about people with chronic illness that have the mindset you espouse, and they talk about 20% less symptoms, less severity, less frequency.
Mhm.
And they don't talk cure because they're a medical group. But
I think when we start with something like forgiveness, and then we carry on with um, a self-care program, meaning exercise, eating healthy, meditating, journaling, writing in a grateful journal, praying. Those are all things that really, really help you stay healthy. I mean, I go see my doctor. I do my regular checkups and stuff. And anytime I go in his office, he's like, how is my healthiest patient? And, I go for a blood test. He's like, you've got the blood work of an 18-year-old. But, and then he says, I know that you take care of yourself. And that's very important. Like although we're going through this horrible time with this virus and everything that's going on, it really hasn't scared me or worried me too much, because I believe that I do everything that I need to stay healthy. It's really important. And it's not just our physical health. I've suffered from a lot of mental illness. And, I guess because of all the life tragedies and traumas that I've had, I've gone through a lot of struggles and a lot of mental illness. I suffered a massive depression in 2008. And I know that for me, for example, it's extra important to maintain that healthy lifestyle that I lead. And,
yes,
sometimes things are going fantastic, and, I sort of start to slack. And I'm like, okay, well, today I'll miss my meditation or my exercise. And then next thing you know is I've completely stopped my whole routine. And guess what? I'm back to my mental illness. I'm back to being depressed or sad, and that's what happens to me. And so I
yes.
know that that's extremely, extremely important to me, and I cannot let that go.
I have a I have a 5 and 7 or 6 and 7 rule. I must exercise 5 days a week. I must attempt always to watch my diet 6 days a week, but I do allow myself a dessert.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to live past 27 due to the cancer issues. And then with the rematch and more cancer and all the surgeries and the emergency surgeries, it's like, you know what? I'm going to live fully. I had an auntie that lived to 93, but food wise, after a health issue in her 30s, she measured everything out to the ounce. And it seems to me that at 87 pounds, when the doctor kept telling her, you should weigh 110, it was like,
Yeah.
that's an existence. That's not living. So yes, I'm going to be moderate, but I'm going to, on occasion, have the time of my life. So do I buy the big tub of ice cream I used to buy? No,
Yeah.
I buy the little tiny French bean vanilla, expensive, with the Madagascar vanilla and cinnamon, and I doctor it. And it is 2 scoops, and it is exquisite because it's
Yeah.
the best I can find. And my taste buds have a party for one dessert. And then for 5 to 6 more days, I behave again.
Well, you know what, Michael? I completely agree with that. So I've been following since January. I've been doing a keto diet. And it's working for me. I love it. Which means, very low carbs, right? Which
Yes.
means, no wine, which means no pastas, no rice. And this weekend, I was able to spend some time with my daughter, and we have an Italian delicatessen, which is called the arancini. It's a rice ball, and you stuff it, and then you deep fry it, and it's
Oh,
been breadcrumbs. And my friend says, that's not keto. I said, no, it's not. But today it's a carb day. And I haven't done something like that since I actually been following this since January. We had some wine, but you know what? I'm back to my normal routine. You have to live. The more you can stick to a regular routine, the better it is for you emotionally, mentally,
yes.
physically, spiritually. But if you want to indulge one afternoon or one evening to go out and do whatever you want, you might not feel good the next day, but that's something that you can decide on what that's my opinion anyway.
I,
And that's
I
how I live my life.
I,
So
I fully agree, or to be silly, I endorse this attitude.
yes, I think it's an amazing attitude because if you love cake, today I printed some margarita cake, like with
Oh,
tequila,
ooh.
and it is actually a keto cake, so it's low carb. So I can't wait to try it. And
But you're
one of the
trying it.
things, what's that?
You're going to try it.
Yeah, I gotta try it. One of the things, I'm Italian. I love pasta. I love bread. So someone said, "Is there an alternative to bread?" Well, there is. It's made with almond flour. So this afternoon, I'm gonna try making it. Hey, and if I love it, that'll be my bread. And
I
you
look
can
forward to knowing how it works for you.
absolutely. But the thing is, we can adjust to certain things. You know what I mean? Like, so what happens? What I have found is people come to me and they say, "Oh, how did you do that? And how did you do this? And how did you lose weight? And how did you make money?" You know what? It's a discipline. It's a change, and nothing is easy.
No,
Nothing is easy, but you've got to make that decision in life to say, "Okay, like I'm ready to be disciplined, and I'm ready because my life is worth it." Now, you're going to put I'm not going to put the crappy gas in my car because it says I need to use the middle one, whatever it is,
yep.
right? I'm not going to use the unleaded because that's not what my car wants. So why am I going to, put all kinds of toxins into my body and not eventually take a break from it, or like, live a better way? Like I drink a lot of water. It's
Yes.
got lemon. It's got Himalayan salt in it. And, because with cancer being so big today and all these viruses and stuff that keep coming up, you want to have your body in an alkaline mode, right?
And you
So
want to be in the
again,
best condition you can, rationally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually. Because
yeah,
otherwise, I remember the doctor saying, so Michael, let's be clear. You didn't cause the cancer, but you tell me your grandfather had a tumor in the identical location. Hmm. I would suggest what you have is a hereditary issue, but perhaps lifestyle sped it up. I said, you think? He was 77. I'm 27. I'm
Right.
sure it did.
Yeah.
And so it's not a character flaw or a moral weakness, but in my 20s, it was all about work, go, go, go. I failed 2 years
Exactly.
of school because of learning issues. Back in the 70s, you don't spell, you don't pass. Well, telling me to spell endoplasmic reticulum so I could pass geology class or biology class was a waste of time.
Right.
So I know I put in too many hours and I caught up to my peers from high school,
Yeah.
got those accelerated jobs and I got promoted and all that, but at what price? At what
Yeah.
price? So now it's like, you know, be productive, be focused, be happy, be joyful, and do it on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to have a 12-hour workday, but it's also good to have a 4-hour workday. Don't confuse length of time with quality of outcome.
I know I'm all often, people are always, because I love traveling, and this is I mean, one of my trips has been canceled. My second trip is most likely going to get canceled. I've got 8 concerts booked for this year that I was going to attend, and one's already been canceled, Bon Jovi. So
Ouch.
that sucks. And people say, well, how do you go away so much? And how do you do? And it's because I'll work 7 days a week constantly if I have to, but then when I play, I like to play hard, you know. And that's the way I add my balance in my life is I don't have a problem working 12-hour days. If I have to, 7 days straight, that's not an issue for me. But when I want to have fun, I'm going to I don't think twice about it. I just
Well,
book it.
to put it in other words, you plan on your fun.
That's right. Constantly.
I'm a big believer on plan on fun. When I was in the cancer ward, my therapist I fired because you're too happy. No, I'm scared out of my mind, and I've chosen to be happy.
Right.
Not everybody has that capability. I understand, but I went, okay, I'm tired of crying, so I'm going to go for joy and happiness. How do I get joy and happiness? I'm going to work towards having moments of joy and happiness.
Right.
Somebody sent me a grape IV plant. I stuck it on the other side of the IV pole from the chemo and the saline solution drip and taped a phony IV on my arm. And I went room to room saying to people, have you heard about the new IV drip? I said, it's fake, but we'll see if the doctors think it's real. They'll wonder if I've lost my marbles. I went to every room. I got people out of their rooms and off their beds to walk around the corridor with me a couple of trips that hadn't been out of bed the whole time they were there.
That's
Because
awesome.
I wasn't telling them to cheer up. I was just being foolish and cheering myself up. And in
Right.
time, the psych ward called down to have me come up and play the piano once a week for the several weeks I was there.
That's awesome.
Because happiness can be contagious. I was still realistic. I knew I could be dead in 6 months, 6 weeks. But again, I go back to, do you have the problem? Does the problem own you? And I hear you saying the same thing with different words is own the problem, but then fight through it. But sometimes you fight through it by planning happiness,
Yes.
planning joy, whether it's
Yeah.
vacations or concerts or
Yeah.
they don't know it yet, but at my local gourmet food store, there's a piece of chocolate cake there with my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a craving for 3 weeks. I'm 7 kilos too big. I can't have that cake until I've stopped gaining, which I believe has started last
Yep.
week. And when I lose a kilo, I get to have a piece of chocolate cake, which seems counterproductive. That's the reward for the discipline.
Absolutely.
I saw last night,
Absolutely.
I went out and power walked again and it was like, yes, Michael is back because that was easy.
Yeah.
Because
It's true.
6 weeks of no exercise. And boy, the first week I exercised, I was dragging. It was like, oh
It's
my
very
gosh,
true.
I feel like I'm 30 years older than the day I quit.
I know. I know.
So it's coming back. And within a couple more weeks, I want to be in the same shape I was when the broken toe day happened. And
Right.
then I have some upgrades I wish to do. I've been
That's
meaning to
great.
buy a small weight vest. I will be buying an exercise weight vest, just not to carry 50 pounds around with me, but 5 pounds, 10 pounds,
Oh, I'd like one of those.
So, well, the goal is that you have to be careful if you put too much weight on before you're in the right shape for it. It's hard on your joints and you don't want to, but
Well, I
start
mean,
off just,
I'm pretty, I like, I mean, it's only been, what, however long we've been in quarantine that I haven't been to the gym, but
right.
like I said, I I am in the best shape that I've ever been, weight wise and, body wise and stuff. And I feel
Yes,
fantastic.
good, good.
I keep saying, and I keep joking, I say to my friends, I'm reversing the age process.
Well,
I'm going backwards.
something to talk to your doctor about when this pandemic is over is we all have two ages. You have your chronological age, your birthday, and then you have your body age. So I saw once last year, and in my late 40s and early 50s, I had an expert who would measure lung capacity and a whole lot of other things, and he was always like, so how come you're 8 to 18 years younger body age than chronological age with your two chronic health issues and your cancer issues and all your surgeries? Like, you should be just breaking even. I said, no, 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 no. I have a goal of being chronologically my age. I accept that, but I want a body age that's 20 years less. That gives
Right.
me more wiggle room if I get ill, because I'm in better shape to fight the fight.
Yeah.
When I went in for my cancer, they're like, wow, you're really fit. I said, well, when I park for my sales conferences and sales consulting with my retail clients, I don't try to park at the front door. I park on the edge of the lot and I walk in, because walking is good because I do too much sitting. So get my steps in, to use the new technology. Carry the stuff in. Don't have a little pull cart. And so these are all small things. I live on the 3rd floor, so when it's time to go to the mail in the basement, other than the broken toe, you take the stairs down 3 flights, you take the stairs up 3 flights. It's not a big
Right.
deal, but it's still 6 flights, 3 up, 3 down for muscle tone. And that all helps your heart health. So it's really important that we work exercise not just into a specific time of the day, but for all the small parts of the day as well. And it really pays off.
Right.
And being competitive, I must admit that I really take joy in having a 48-year-old doctor. And physically, I'm probably in better shape than he is. And he asks what gym I belong to. I don't. What do you eat special? I eat some very specific foods several times a week that are known to have higher than average quality health benefits, but I'm not on a specific diet. I
Right.
don't have a large digestive tract, so I eat a very expensive multivitamin 4 or 5 days a week to make sure that I'm getting, despite eating really well, I want to make sure. And my blood tests, like yours, they say, wow, great blood test. I said, for my age or for somebody that's 20 years younger? Remember the gold doctor? Oh no, Michael, if you were 20 years younger, this would be good, really good news too. Okay.
Right.
I still have over a 99.5% kidney function and liver function, and because once a year they test all that.
That's
You
good.
know, so you're right, but it's also the mindset of, it's not fearful. I don't do this out of fear. It's a giant game with huge consequences. If I was
Right.
scared, I might just give up.
Yeah.
But instead it's like what can I do? It's a competition with me. I can't compete with you. I can't be
Yeah.
you. Now we can talk about how to be joyful. We could have a joyfulness competition for 7 days. That would be fun. What did you do?
Yes. That's awesome.
So yes, so I thank you for sharing your story. I look forward to reading it. As one of the collaborators, I had the ability to do that. I chose not to.
Okay.
So I trust you, the writers, our very qualified editor, and others to do that. And with me, I want to be surprised, and I can't wait to get 31 autographs.
Yeah.
Even
Have
if they're
you,
on label.
Michael, have you read my book?
Not yet, no.
Have you read any of the, because I was a co-author in 4 other books.
Oh,
3.
one of the other ones, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, just once.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
yes, so it's exciting to get this done. People need to know it, and I know you've got to get going as well as me, but people need to know that resiliency is in part a choice, part of
Mhm.
belief system. It's also about asking for help or being helped.
Yes.
My neighbor's giving out those care packages. Yes, that cost them a lot of money, but he and his wife knocked on the door, backed up 6 feet. I answered. He said, man, this is addictive. This was
Yeah.
it feels so good to be able to share. Wow.
It's, you know what, it's not just, so I'm living kind of in an area where there's a lot of construction still. I'm in a newer subdivision.
Yes.
And you know, the like there's these guys are still working every single day. So um, you know, and I'm at home every day and you know, I can't go out much. I'm in real estate, but you know, that's kind of really changed a lot. So one day I made a big thing of penne with meatballs and Italian sausage, and I delivered it to them. And you know, it makes someone's day. Not only did it make my day to know that I added a day of pleasure and joy in their lives, it really makes you feel good too because you're in the giving mode. And you
Yes.
know, I have posted before, I want to give. I'm a big giver. I'm not one to ask for help or take, but I'm one to give. And I love doing it. And it's like if somebody was to message me right now to say, hey, could you make some pasta for 15 people? I'm on it. I have the means here right now. I could do it. And,
Yep.
you know, I keep putting it out there. And I think sometimes, I think, especially during these times, I think people are afraid or they're embarrassed or shy. And I keep saying, don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. You know, private message. You don't have to put it on the, wall there. You can message me privately. Anybody can. I'd be
Yes.
happy to. I can drop it off. You can come pick it up at my doorstep, whichever one it is. Like we're in such a time of uncertainty that so many people I know are scared. I know
Yes.
that, they're worried. And I've done some talks and, I keep saying, if you're sitting at home and you have anxiety and you're in a panic and you're worried about this pandemic, you need to start doing something to change where you're at and start by a little morning routine. Start with meditation. Write 3 things every day that you're grateful for. I do this every day. Right now I'm meditating I meditate 2 times a day no matter what, but right now I'm meditating 3 times a day, just because I have the time now, right?
Yep.
And you have to take you have to take responsibility for your own life. Listen, I came into this world and it wasn't a pleasant place for me to be. And they say I chose my parents, I chose everything, and I don't blame anybody. I have forgiven everyone, but I continue to learn from what's happened in my life. I don't use it as, look what my father did to me, look what my mother did, look what this person, look what my ex-husband did to me. I talk about them, but I talk about them because I want people to be able to resonate with my story, because everyone can resonate with part of my story. I can talk
Yes.
about emotional, mental, physical, sexual abuse of any type. But I've taken responsibility for me and I've learned to accept where I've been, and now I want to just be able to help other people, right? And
Yes.
that's
Yep.
basically all I, can say or do, right?
Hmm. So it's important to nurture our mind, body, and spirit in so many ways. And so the book got started because I saw a need to share and theme it on resilience.
Yes.
It's great to have other book themes of collaborative authors, and I respect that. But this one I wanted themed on resilience because I see in the future more and more people are going to need to know they have choices with their mental health for every day. I'm not talking depression or schizophrenia and all the other things, bipolar, because those are things that are even bigger. But
Yeah.
what I call everyday mental health issues, because it has an impact on our income, it has an impact on our physical health. I mean, I in the 1970s found that Harvard Medical School research that people who had a certain belief system and practiced certain skills had 20% less chronic health issues, 30% less cost to manage their health. It was like, why wouldn't I do this? It's
Yeah.
it's not a cure, but anytime you can cut your cost by 30%, anytime you can have 20% less issues. I went 3 years after that when I practiced and had no symptoms, which was not what they claim. It was just what I experienced. But it was like, all right, I am in more charge of this body than I gave myself credit for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
There's
wrap this up because we have to get on to other things, both of us. But your
absolutely.
message of empowerment and gratitude And forgiveness is very powerful. And I thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
And I will get your website on the bottom of this, and people can look you up and hear more of you, and then
Yes,
soon read more of you. So thank you very
absolutely.
much.
Thank you, Michael. You have a great day and stay safe.
Absolutely. You too.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.